Everyone and their grandma has heard of Kokiri Forest. It's one of the most iconic places in the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. But where did it go? Since after that game, a lot happened. So let's take a look at what could have happened throughout the timelines. Kokiri Forest, a little village located on the eastern section of Hyrule, with Hyrule Field to the west, Lost Woods to the east, and Zora's Fountain to the north. It serves as the home of the Kokiri tribe, as well as its guardian spirit, the Great Deku Tree. The Kokiri Forest is known to be the source of life, maintaining the order of the world, and deterring outsiders from ever entering the so-called Forbidden Forest. Now everybody has seen this place and has been here. The game starts off here after all, with the hilarious cutscene of Navi, of course. Nintendo has no humor at all. Wow, this was a stale joke, but Navi is a horrible character anyway. But besides all of this, it's still a very important area of Hyrule. Mostly because of the Great Deku Tree. It's a mystical forest with strange powers, just like the Lost Woods. But what happened to it in the games after Ocarina of Time? The timeline was created after that game, so there are 3 universes, all with different games set in them. One where Link lost and Ganon won, another where Link was the winner but he was sent back in time to his youth, and another where it was all prevented because he warned everybody. Now of course, these things affect the land of Hyrule in different ways, and today we're going to find out what happened to our beloved Kokiri Forest. Well, let's first look at the darkest of all timelines, the one where evil won and Link straight up died. The Downfall timeline. The first game set in this one is A Link to the Past, and before that, Ganondorf ruled over Hyrule for some time, but was sealed away by Princess Zelda and the sages at some point. It took a lot of fighting, let's keep it on that. But what happened to Kokiri Forest then? Well, we know that Link freed the Sage of Forest and a new Deku Tree was born since the old one died. This is quite crucial for Kokiri Forest, since it was overrun with monsters when there wasn't one around. But this new Deku Tree sprout was most likely killed as soon as Ganon took over. So if Kokiri Forest still exists, it is probably filled with enemies. Now on the map there isn't any area named Kokiri Forest. However, the Lost Woods are still there. So where did Kokiri Forest go then? Well, one possibility is that the two became one big forest. In A Link to the Past, the Lost Woods are quite big, and if you look at the edge of the map, you can see that there's even another part where you can't go in the game. With the Deku Tree dead, Kokiri Forest would be overrun. The inhabitants will most likely die, and as you could see in Ocarina of Time, all kinds of plants would start to grow there. It is quite logical that over time the two pieces of forest would become one, and I think that's what happened. There's quite a big time gap between the two games, so there's certainly enough time for this to happen. Besides that, we don't see any other forests in the game that could be Kokiri Forest, so it's the only option really. Now let's move on to the next one, named the Child Timeline. Here, Link warned Princess Zelda and the King of Ganondorf's plan. Because of this, a war broke out between the two sides. Ganondorf lost in the end, and was sent to the Twilight Realm. Now the first game set in Hyrule in this timeline is Twilight Princess, and locating Kokiri Forest is going to be a bit tricky here. The Lost Woods, Deku Tree and Kokiri Forest aren't seen in this game, so we don't have a lot to go off. But looking at the map, I only see 2 possibilities. Ordon Village, or somewhere close to the Forest Temple in Faron Woods. Both are set in the forest or close to it, and in terms of rough layout are fitting, especially Ordon Village. In the GameCube version of the game, Ordon Village is located in the same area where Kokiri Forest is located in Ocarina of Time. When looking at the proportions of Hyrule's increased size over its Ocarina of Time incarnation, it appears that Ordon Village is right where the Kokiri Forest should have been, with the remains of the Great Deku Tree, which is most likely the Forest Temple, a proportionate distance from what once was the Kokiri Forest. The other option is that it was closer to the Forest Temple, more in the Faron Woods area, but it kind of depends on how far it is from each other. Now you might ask, why do you think that the Forest Temple is the old Deku Tree? Well, the Kokiri symbol, which is most notably found on the Deku Shield, is found on each door throughout the Forest Temple in Twilight Princess. Besides that, it's a huge tree. Just look at this monster. This is also extremely fitting. Now in this timeline, there is no new Deku Tree. In Ocarina of Time, Link went back to his youth, and the Deku Tree was dead in that time period. The new sprout started growing after Link cleared the Forest Temple, which never happened. So maybe there wasn't a new one born. Because of this, Kokiri Forest was overrun and might have ended up looking like Faron Woods, filled with monsters. Or Ordon Village, filled with humans that ended up killing all the monsters and claimed it for themselves. Now for the last one, the adult timeline. Here Link won, sealed Ganon away, and left for good. He went back in time after all to the child timeline. But after many years, Ganon escaped the seal and tried to take control over the kingdom. But there was no hero, so the people started praying to the gods, asking for help. They decided to aid the people of Hyrule and flooded the land, trapping Ganon with his army underneath the waves. Now in this game we do see the Deku Tree, which is a great place to start, but by the looks of it, a lot has changed. This Deku Tree is the same one that we saw in Ocarina of Time, but back then, he was just a little sprout. He even talks to you in Old Hylian because he thinks that you're the Link from Ocarina of Time. But he is inside of a huge tree, most likely the old Deku Tree, and everything around it is... well, there isn't a whole lot besides the hollow tree. Now why is this? Well, if you look at Kokiri Forest, then you can see that the area of the Great Deku Tree isn't the highest point. It's probably the lowest. So in theory, the Great Deku Tree must have been underwater before the rest of the forest. But that didn't happen. Well, there are two options here. The Great Deku Tree is a deity after all, so he's quite powerful. Could it be that he saved himself by putting himself higher up? Or did the gods do this for him? Well, most likely. It's the only option really, and Kokiri Forest was probably washed away, never to be seen again. So as you can see, Kokiri Forest went through quite a number of changes. In every timeline it either completely changed or was destroyed. The forest could have easily returned, and I bet a lot of people would have loved that. It was the first area of one of the most popular Zelda games after all. But no, it never happened, and ended up being doomed every time. Hey everybody, I'm going to PAX West. The event is in Seattle from the 1st to the 4th of September, and I'll be there together with Lockstin. So come say hi. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, so you know where I am, or tweet me or send me a message that you want to hang out. Then we can arrange something. Link to the event and my social media are in the description. It's gonna be my first time there and also in America. So I hope to see lots of you and to have a ton of fun. Hey there, be sure to check out all my other social media. Oh what, you don't want to do that? Oh, you're silly. You always want more. Thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now. And be sure to subscribe, because way more is coming.